welcome to Pathways. I'm your host, Natalie Sady. Joining me today is Yoko Senesac from LA Adopt. Thank you so much for joining me, Yoko.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, I wanted to talk to you. You have an organization that you founded, LA Adopt.
Yes, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, all-breed animal rescue.
So you don't actually have a shelter of your own?
Yes, so we are a foster-based only rescue, rely on fosters and the homes to help us save lives of shelter animals.
And how did this come about? I mean, what was it that made you decide to start LA Adopt?
So I've been advocating for 5 years now, networking and volunteering for different rescue organizations. But the day that really changed my life would be one day 5 years ago is when I found there was a dog underneath the car, and it was a female brindle pit bull. And at that time, I didn't have resource of how to help her. So we called animal control, and we were waiting for the help. The shelter arrived, and that's the first time I actually encountered the shelter system and how everything was. I did not really understand how it worked. The animal control came, we were looking around the property. We also found her deceased brother. He was actually in the trash can disposed. And
He was in the trash can?
Yeah, there was a male similar to her. We assumed that was her brother in the trash can upside down. Yeah, just the whole, I guess everything that we've seen was all too much, and it was not something we can just not ignore.
Of course. So you call animal control, and what happens next?
So animal control comes, picks up the animal as she went to Carson Shelter. They provided us with an animal ID, so every animal entered the shelter system will have an animal ID. And due to the fact that she was found as a stray, they have a hold for the stray animal. Well, the day of her available date before the shelter opened, when I called, they euthanized her at the shelter.
So, okay, how long is the hold that the shelters put on these animals?
I think it was about 4 days, 4 or 5 days at that time back then. Even still now, there is a hold. Every shelter has a different. But it was about 4th or 5th day on her available day. We had a plan for her, actually.
Okay.
I shared her story. Then a rescue organization reached out, the Lovejoy Foundation, and they said, we will take this dog. And there was this whole rescue thing started. And I said, okay, great. We're going to get this dog out, and we're going to bring her to a rescue, and we're going to, find her a home. And when I called in the morning and found out she was euthanized, it was just something that changed me forever.
So how can they do that where they're euthanizing before the hold is over?
Yeah, I think it was at her available date. And even at that time, it was high kill number, and it really affected me. It wasn't something I could accept. And, I was like, okay, well. So then the first thing I did was from this heartbreak, I actually volunteered for a rescue organization. It's like, how do you guys work? How do we save lives?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to try walking our big dogs, and And then locally in South Bay, so I started going to all these different rescues and introduced myself and just started walking their dogs. And then next thing you know, go into animal shelter and just see the reality. And once you walk into a shelter, it will change your life. It really will. You're not the same person,
No, you're not. And I did some work for the RSPCA back in Melbourne, Australia, and I remember the first day I went down there to walk through amongst all those animals, your heart is breaking because to not be able to take every single one of them home and keep them safe. And
that's the thing. It's like, how do you pick one? It's but you have to start somewhere. And I think that's, it is through emotion. It is feeling this thing of wanting a change. And, just to know that one person can truly make a difference and act on it.
Well,
and, take action. And it's not necessarily just being involved and knowing how it works and just, being part of life-saving, answers.
And I mean, horrible stories like the one you've just shared with us, I sometimes think they're necessary for change to come about.
Absolutely.
And I think when their lives mean something or stand for something, it doesn't make it okay, but it makes it worthwhile. It means that we have been able to create something better. And so from that, you've been able to, you know, step into this whole new world.
A whole new world. We became a rescue organization ourselves, and you know, it was life changing. Probably, like you said, it was this emotion of sadness and anger, and something that you just want to change. You know.
Well, I mean, it just shouldn't be happening to any animals. And I mean, when you're so closely affected by it. So when she was euthanized and you go out and start volunteering with different organizations, how long did it take for you to start LA Adopt?
So LA Adopt was actually funded, it became an organization last year, 2017, officially. I really felt like I really wanted to learn everything I could possibly. I'm still learning. I'm always going to be learning. But just see as like a student how it all worked. And, you know, always having great rescue organizations. Everybody helps each other. It's a really one big community.
So,
you know,
following your Instagram page, because social media has been an incredible tool for you. I
yes,
mean,
absolutely.
Every day, social media is being blown up by photos that you're posting of animals that need help, and you post which shelters they're at, descriptions about them. You let people know when they've been in the shelter for, you know, a long period of time. I mean, there are so many questions here. How do you... how has that helped? Has that made your life easier, or?
That is where the next generation is really where it's at. We were just talking about this before. You might see a rescue organization and still probably at a, you know, like a pet store, like, you know, PetSmart, and have adoption events. But, you know, I really feel like the social media, Instagram, you know, now we have, it was 60 seconds, you know, we have to create a video. And we try to get all like the play yard video, the shelter, the kennel, just to get every different personality of a dog into 1 minute.
Yeah.
But to see the impact of lives being saved just from Instagram or social media alone is powerful. It's amazing. And I get email from Germany and all across the world supporting a dog in Los Angeles. And you know, I can't even, I write back to them. I say, thank you for, you know, supporting all the way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm blown away by the world, how much they care. And they reach out, how's this Carson dog doing? Or how's this dog doing? And, you know, which means the awareness is out there. It is getting out there.
And I think one of the greatest things that tend to go viral on social media are the videos or the montages of animals where they say, before adoption, after adoption. So they show a photo of the animal in
the shelter.
And then when they're home or on their freedom ride.
Yes.
And to see the difference in these animals. And I feel like that's helping to educate people and steer them away from shopping for
and that freedom video is so important. Just because the heartache we see in the social media every day, we need to hear some good to keep fighting this fight. You know, if we don't have success stories, I don't know if we could physically, emotionally continue if it's constantly like we can't win. But it's that freedom video and that, you know, chances of them getting out, and everybody, that's our favorite videos to post. Like,
and it's so nice to see them, because to follow your page is actually difficult. I'm not in a position to have a dog, and I desperately want one, but it's just not a reality for me. And I follow your Instagram page and Facebook page, and I cry some nights looking through those videos at these eyes and all of that sort of looking back at me. To see those freedom videos or the happy home tales or whichever video it is, but with a happy ending, it melts my heart that these animals...
That makes it worth fighting for.
Yeah.
It's that moment, you know, there's so much blood, you know, tears and like emotion, and there's so much plan until the animal being pulled, and there's like so much team behind them, and it's not, you know, there's so many people involved, all for that one moment, all for that freedom, even just them running out of the shelter. Even the dogs know, you know.
I was going to say, they know.
They know.
It's almost like when you see some of these freedom videos, when the handler or whoever's working at the shelter
they can't
goes
wait
in
to
get them,
get out.
They know. They go running and
full speed, like, let's get out, you know.
So I guess what I need to know, or I think is important for people to know, you're there advocating for all these animals, and a lot of them are pit bulls on death row, not far off being euthanized. A lot of the animals that you post about where you're looking for an adoptive family or a foster family are sometimes 12 hours away from being euthanized. How do you cope when you're not able to save some of those animals?
And that's the part you really have to, it is one life at a time. And, we do try, and there's multiple people. We're always trying to be that no kill, low kill, know. But for us, nothing's more important than having a plan after the animal's pulled.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting the animal out. It's where they're going to go. Do they need training? Do they have a foster home? There has to be a plan, most important. And it's not possible without the community. As much as we want to save them, there's nothing more important than having a proper plan for the dog and proper plan so we could help them. Then that's where where it's like if people could step out and, then we make a move of pulling the dog out, considering there's everything lined up for them.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's the percentage of animals that you are able to save versus the ones that there's just nothing you can do?
I would say, honestly, for the dogs, even when we share on our page, probably 90, 95, we do save them.
That's
it's
amazing.
High. Yes, it's not just LA Adopt. So, I mean, my LA Adopt page in general, it is a community page. It is other rescue organizations, other fosters, other adopters. But this is community. They're the ones, though. But as a community total, I would say 90%, 95, we get these dogs out.
That is a fantastic number. Because I've never known the answer to that question. And it's scary sometimes when you're seeing these faces and seeing the time sort of ticking away. And
it is that urgency that when people move. And, it's just, I don't know what it is, but when you're on that 24, 48-hour time, people, if you're not moving, there's going to, people already know what's going to happen. They will be euthanized. And if and you start seeing action, and it's amazing. It really is like to see urgent dogs be adopted like the next day or...
You must be so incredibly proud to be a part and I think a leader of this community that is fighting to save so many lives and that it's being so effective.
It has been. And just to see that, like you said, effective and people really making a difference, even just by making a video, and people go out to adopt. So people could help in so many ways. They can visit their local shelters and get the video, share it on their timeline, because you never know who's watching your feed or who might share your feed.
Well, sharing is one of the most incredible tools that social media offers us.
Yes.
On social media, though, there is a flip side to all of that. Most people that have some sort of public profile talk about online trolling and, people that just, everyone has an opinion and negative things to say. Is that something that you've encountered on this journey or...
I say, I'm sure there's always a good and a bad, right? That's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, it's not about them. And it's about the dogs, or it's about the animals.
But how does it affect you when you're fighting this battle and you're doing everything you can to save these
stand by
souls?
my animal. And if anybody probably question or anything, we have 100% transparency. I feel like just email us. I'm always putting my information out there. Anybody have any questions furthermore they want to know about our animals, email us, contact us. And I really feel like not going against them, but it's like, let's work together. What is it that you want to know? Or what is it that you're hearing that you might not, you might have misunderstood or not heard it from our rescue organization. You heard it from somebody else. So as long as the trolls they're willing to step up and, reach out to us instead of being the keyboard warrior behind, then there's nothing I can do about that. But if there's something, they want to bring forward, we're happily, to, show them who we are.
It sounds like you've got it firmly under control and, you're on your path.
Exactly.
And nothing is getting in the way of that.
Yes.
So you have, you've talked about being a non-for-profit. So what are the ways that people can help you if they're not able to foster a dog?
So if you're not able to foster a dog, maybe volunteer for your local animal shelter. Even sometimes the shelters are very hard to walk into, and I understand that. They could volunteer for the local rescues. I would say maybe people could, especially for holidays, summertime right now, shelter dogs need fans. It's so hot at the shelter, and things maybe people don't think about getting fan, for the dogs. And there's just so many ways people could, get involved, help.
Wonderful. And to support LA Adopt specifically, you have merchandise that you sell?
Yes, we do have LA Adopt. So it's laadopt.com. It's a one big site of our dogs available. Plus we do rescue apparel. We created a rescue awareness apparel to help give back. 100% goes to our animals. And it's really about spreading awareness and love.
Amazing. And the apparel is actually incredible. I love wearing it myself. So just finally, what is the mark that you want to leave on this world?
So the mark I want to leave on this world would be just the community awareness and education. That I started this organization just not having any answers or resource, and I hope that one day, by the time I leave here, that there will be enough resource and information where there won't be another situation like hers.
Yes.
And that most importantly, community will have the resource if they need help with their dog, and it's not just a shelter, but there are trainers and there are rescue organizations, and there's so many great people that we have answers for. We could help the community. So I do hope by the end of the time that they're able to just have all this resource available, and we can just keep saving more dogs and the cats.
Well, I think you're already well on your way to achieving that goal, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's a very emotional one, but I think incredibly important.
Thank you so much for having us today, Natalie. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
So don't forget to head to LA Adopt on Instagram, Facebook. Follow, share, let's help save all of these dogs.
Yes.
I'm Natalie Sady, and this is Pathways.